wrap it up and start putting everything away. And then I've got the Firebird's feather to say.
Julie is passionately in love with Pathways, and if you haven't yet done so, you should read her blog. She says she's passionately in love with Pathways, even if her beginnings were bumpy. And she now presents workshop after workshop online, and is trying to infect others with her passion. And she was going to reflect on her journey through Pathways this evening. The timing for this presentation is 10 to 12 minutes. Is that correct, Julie? Mr. Timekeeper. Julie, would you come to the screen and give us your presentation, please?
Thank you. Pat Johnson began her idea that we are no more modern and the education program of Toastmaster has to be changed in 1910. And every year I waited. This year it will come out. This year it will come out. Finally I relaxed. Okay, I wait. Someday it will happen. And in 2017, it did happen. And we heard with Brian together, there are now districts who are on pilot, and somewhere on the Facebook, we read also that we have some clubs where you can join remote. So we went there very fast, almost the same time, same week. Me and Brian joined Great Communicators in Arlington. I believed now I can relax. Mm-hmm. But it was only a club where you can join on telephone. So imagine holding a telephone for 1 hour, sometimes 1.5 hours, and they didn't hear me well, and sometimes I didn't hear them. And I was afraid of the big telephone bills growing up also. But we begin. The VP told us, you can give your speech wherever you want. You don't have to give other than the icebreaker, which I gave. And immediately the president told me, oh, you got into a lot of sexy things. But all the other speech I gave in other places, in Firebirds, in VT Birds, in Royal Roads, in everywhere. So we were left on our own. When you are left on your own, what happens? Your road is bumpy. I couldn't finish my icebreaker the first time. So I didn't want to relax. I wanted to do it fast. So it happened. What happens when you are a Toastmaster? My fellow remote access Toastmaster, Matthew Kleinowski, came to my rescue and told me, Julie, you cannot finish your icebreaker. I can help you, but only if you let me go into your computer. From Toronto to London, he came to my computer, blah, 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 fast, closed my icebreaker. It was very fast, but I could understand that I didn't answer to every question of assessment. Self-assessment, I didn't know it was so important. And anyway, there are so many different arrows, and you follow one time with an arrow, one time with a more. How could I know? But now I knew. The most important is what I knew I could now show to others. And as soon as I knew a little bit how to do, I became an expert. Now I could help others. And I even went to Brian, who had spoken for 2 hours with one expert on headquarters and 3 or 1.5 hours with another, and they couldn't do anything to his computer. We Zoomed together finally, and I could see his screen and told him, Brian, you didn't disable your pop-up blocker. I don't like pop-ups, Brian told me. Okay, you don't like pop-ups? Every pathway project is on a pop-up. Disable your pop-up now. And he did. And it worked. In 2 minutes, everything was resolved between us, and he didn't need me really a lot more. And then someone else asked me, I cannot close my project. I could show what Matthew taught me. Again, through Zoom. I began to like Zoom, which I hated before. And then I was ready, set to go, and ready to go project by project. I fell in love with the second project already, evaluate and give feedback, because I understood so much better what Smedley meant by giving advices that you can really follow and next time do a little better. And then came the research. In the research, I combined 2 things. As a researcher, I knew it is always better when you combine, and applied it. And the research was on pathway and transition, because transition, a pathway is a transition. And from then on, all my projects, visual communication, this was the first I finished, was on that change and how to help everyone bring the change, the transformation to pathway easier and faster. I choose not visual communication first, in fact. I choose presentation mastery, because I told myself, and don't do like me, don't look at a book by its cover, don't judge it by its cover. I told myself I want to learn to speak better, not to change the world, not to have a huge vision, and anyway my vision was storytelling, and I had already a storytelling club. That was my first reasoning, which was wrong, because I didn't look at the project for level 3 and 4, required projects. I look at the title, at the cover. But the second bad choice, because it didn't stop here, was to complain about printing. At first, I asked my son, my daughter-in-law, anyone I knew to print me. I didn't have a printer. And I wanted to look at the project outside the computer also. And they came 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and they looked at me more and more angry. You see how much you want? Here it is. So I decided, okay, I pay $45 more, and I will buy the printed pass. Now I have to tell you, that made me 1 only of all Toastmasters who are on Pathway. From 8,000 or 9,000, there is only 1% who got into that problem. I would say that mistake, and did buy the printed pass. I believed I will get all the choices, and I could change and read all the elective at level 3. But when the level 3 arrived finally, after 3 months, because first my manuals were lost, I got a CC manual, then I had to prove I got a CC manual instead of Pathway manual, and then I got a Pathway manual 2.5 months after I ordered them and paid for them, finally. By Federal Express, in one day, when they really believed me that I didn't have it. By that time, I was deep into visionary communication and delighted in it. The visionary communication is all about change. But then I finally got to do and to begin the presentation mastery. And when I got the level 3, there were no choices, like I believed. I had only 2 projects, elective, so they said, but they elected for me. It was like in a communist country, you have 2 candidates and that's it. You cannot choose any other. I was so angry that I dropped it. And I bought again the presentation mastery, not printed web pass. And that is the one I finished now, today. But it was fun. For example, instead of speaking about leadership, I could speak about body language. And I spoke not about my body language, about the audience body language. And Louis, some speakers, and they were delighted with that comic speech. So everything which came in my way, every time I got down and bumped, it helped me to be able to become a more expert and help others, and could explain all the things which went wrong in my blog, which I begin level 4 of my first pass. Today, I have 19,000 hits on it. I wrote for 6 months now, every day. And I have every time other Toastmasters coming from other region where the pathway rolls out. And they are happy to read and to get my advice. And I'm happy to give because I have so much. If I didn't have any problem, I think my blog wouldn't be interesting. But like it is, I had a lot to say, and I have a long, long way to go yet. I didn't finish. Now I am on my 3rd pass already on leadership development. I will make a big festival with Arlington and with some Toastmasters in different countries all over the world coming to it. I am so happy to be able to tell you my path, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Julie.